Hey, Coach Travis here with another note about these tricky shadow problems. So there is sort of a really subtle issue with these shadow problems that that can really trip people up that I wanted to address. So it's basically sometimes these shadow problems ask you for how fast the head of the shadow is moving along the ground. And that was the kind of problem that we did. I mean, we did this problem in one of the other videos. And so the common mistake that it's very easy to make is a lot of people will focus on the length of the shadow. So this thing right here, which I guess I'll call S for shadow. And then what they'll do is they'll do the problem and they'll find ds dt. But then the computer will say that they're wrong, and they'll look over their math and everything is correct. And they can't figure out what happened. And the issue is that if you find the SDT, if this is your picture, and you find the SDT, you're not actually answering the right question. Because what S is the length of in my picture, S is the length of the shadow. But the question's not really asking for the rate of change of the length of the shadow. This question is asking for just the rate of change of the head of the shadow. And again, you might, if I were you, I would say, well, aren't they the same thing? And the answer is no, because if I'm interested in the length of the shadow, then, well, the man is moving. In some sense, both sides are changing, because the man is moving and the head of the shadow is moving. And so if you're finding the rate of change of the length of the shadow, then you're allowing both how do I say that? Then the base of the shadow and the head of the shadow are something that you're accounting for, because you want to find how fast the length of the shadow is changing. But if you just want to find the rate of change of the head of the shadow, then you don't really care about the base of the shadow. All you care about is the head of the shadow. And so that's why when I did this problem, I was looking at this distance instead. I was looking at, this was the thing I was interested in, because in this situation now, the base here is never changing. The left end of my distance is fixed. The only thing that's allowed to change, the only thing that's changing in this S is the end of the shadow, which is what the question is asking for. So that is a super subtle distinction, and I totally can understand why I'm sure when I did this problem, in fact, I still sometimes get these problems wrong because I make that mistake. So you just have to be really careful, and also be aware then that sometimes the problems can change. So if this problem was rewritten and it said how fast is the length of the shadow, if we change this problem to how fast is the length of how fast is the length of the shadow changing, then the picture I have drawn here that we used for the previous problem would be wrong. The picture you should draw in that case is the one that we had earlier in this video, that then the correct thing to find would be ds dt, where S is indeed the length of the shadow. So again, super subtle little tricky bit there, but so be aware of that when you're taking on these shadow problems.